him
Oh,
and to come back.
okay, we'll call it. We'll call the meeting order at 7. First is the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, the approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Pfaff, seconded by Mr. Baczynski to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mrs. Popov? Mr. Baczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Next, the approval of claims.
Make a motion to approve claims. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Baczynski, seconded by Mr. Pfaff to approve the claims. Any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mrs. Popowski?
Yes.
Mr.
Baczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Next, utilities. Anything exciting happening in utilities lately?
I think there's this thing called a polar vortex that came by. Yeah, we had some excitement this month. Begin with January 29th, there's a water leak at the old police station building. It appears the water line froze and cracked the T-fitting. So we were out there trying to shut things down. We had found a valve, which we weren't sure if it served that line or not. So it was, Adam had, AccuDig came out and they hydro-excavated. And lo and behold, we found two valves there. and Tom was there helping out too. And apparently, it appears that two copper services were feeding the old 2-inch water service going to that building, which looks to be steel, which is not in very good shape. But so anyway, we ended up crimping one of them and shutting the valve down, and that shut it off. So it looks right now that we can isolate that water service. It was interesting to say the least. So Westville Excavating was out too, and they helped out on it too. Butch and Jeff did a really good job helping out on that. And it was starting to get cold. Then the next day, we had a major water main break on Main Street. Adam found that after midnight. Had AccuDig out again, and they tried to hydro-excavate and determine what the problem was. The frost was very thick in those streets. It was over 36 inches in that area. The good thing with AccuDig is they've got hydraulic they've got a boiler on the truck, so they use high pressure so they can basically lamp the area out, and they can take the material out of the hole. What happened was there was a shear break on a tapping sleeve that was done when the water main extension was there. There were several valves there, quite a few valves there, and as I reported earlier in the year, is the mapping system leaves a little bit to be desired, and we found out the hard way during this situation, trying to find valves that would shut. And there were valves that were in the street we found later that weren't on the mapping system and that type of thing. So anyway, make a long story short, the way the break was is that you couldn't just put a repair clamp on. We had to actually remove the T, the valve, and then put a new T, valve, and couplings in, so the entire main had to be shut down. We had a hard time getting the thing shut off after we shut the tower down. We didn't want to make that decision, but it was getting close to 4 o'clock, and we felt like safety, and with the super cold weather coming, it was a good idea to do that and proceed with that. We did get it shut down. D&M was there. Westville Excavating helped also in trying to isolate some valves and that type of thing. We ended up breaking a valve in the process, trying to shut it down. We had it repressure. We spent about an hour just repressurizing the system and trying so we would not have more breaks, because a lot of times if you bring a system back online too quickly, you will snap water mains doing that. So it took us over an hour just to slowly bring that online. We got it back online. Had the 2 rounds of bacteriological testing done Thursday and Friday. By Saturday afternoon, everything was satisfactory, so we took the boil advisory off. IDEM was notified during the process and after the process of what we were doing and what was going on. So all that was taken care of. There were a lot of people, Darren, Lori, Tom was out there, I think, the whole time. It was a tough situation, but everybody worked together, and I think they did a really, I don't know if we made lemonade out of the lemons, but it could have been worse, I think. So it was tough, and I think we learned something with the system. Since then, Tom has been spending a lot of time going through the maps. I know he and Mike, you guys have talked and gotten together and trying to get everything compiled. One of the problems we've seen is sometimes you have too much information, so you have 4 different maps on one thing, and then you try going out in the field and really try figuring out what happened. And boy, it really makes it tough. And that's kind of what we're seeing now. There's stuff on computers, there's stuff on old computers, there's handwritten drawings, there's engineers' drawings, there's engineers' record drawings, there's handwritten record drawings from the contractor, and it just really makes it tough to figure out what's actually in the ground. So we're slowly doing that. We spoke about a GIS system. I think that's something that should really be done and looked into, just from the simple fact that you can find valves, you're going to be within a foot or 2 of them. Some of the valves that we would have needed to have gotten to were under they're under 5, 6, 7 foot deep snow piles, and it's just really tough in that type of situation to find this stuff. Normally, you'd only have to find 2 or 3 valves. Unfortunately, some of the valves that were there weren't working properly, and I don't know why yet. When we get the one removed, we're going to see. Typically, on modern valves, you take a certain number of turns to close a certain size valve, and typically it's about 14 turns to close a 4-inch, about 21 turns to close a 6-inch valve. We were getting 9 turns on a valve, and we're not sure what, basically what was doing was snapped one. I remember in another town that had a water system about the same age, there were some off-size valves, but the problem was we never got the water shut off. So I think there's probably some problems with the valves. There's probably some wears in the seats or in the gates. Once we get one out of the ground, we'll have a little better understanding. I think we did find one of the inserter valves that was installed later on, but we're he's gonna get it, the top dug off so we can get into it and onto it. The casting was broken off and it's full of dirt and all sorts of other debris. So anyway, that's where we're at with that's what happened with that. A lot of time was spent on that. There's no doubt about it. We used a lot of water, but it definitely could have been worse. So my thanks to the police department, the clerk's office, everybody, Tom. I mean, it was really a good team effort to get that done. So, and the people were really understanding too. Usually, sometimes you get these and they have fits, and I think everybody in town was pretty understanding, which is really a good thing. So, nobody wanted to see that happen, but when you've got an old sections of old piping and that, you're bound to have problems. So our goal is to make sure the next time it happens, we can get it. We can, if we have to, we'll put some valving here and there, so we don't necessarily. So be a little more specific in areas where we can shut certain areas down. So
I just wanted to thank you, Nathan, and all your staff. I mean, they had 2 other, Randy and Mark Mosier from
yep.
MCO were out here all day. Adam.
And we're about 24, I think.
Midnight until like 10 or later, and then Bubba was out there. Bubba was out there blocking the road off, cranking valves.
He was there the whole time too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was.
And everyone. It was then a lot of the effort too, like Darren, Lori, communicating with the public. That's a whole other factor that I see. This is neat up there. I've never seen any, that's probably never seen people bust their tail like that and get, no one giving up and sticking it out till it's done.
I was amazed on the social media stuff about people, oh man, can I bring coffee too? I mean,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
It was really nice, so.
Well, I think that goes to Darren and Lori, making everyone aware of what's going on. You were constantly on it. So, thank you.
Yeah, Darren too.
I said Lori and Darren.
Oh, yeah, because that's how I was getting mine, was
Yeah,
from Darren.
Lori and Darren were the two that
Yeah,
were making
guys.
it happen, keeping all that information out there. You had, what, 3 or 4 different sources you were using? Good job.
It's like United Press International.
We made the news, Darren got on the news.
Yeah. The department employees that were out there are all getting a letter from Regina and I, as member of the personnel committee. And this would be sent to them and also put in their personnel file. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you for an outstanding job well done during the water main break on Main Street on January 2018. You wished it was July.
Yeah.
Your dedication to the citizens of Westville and your fellow employees is very much appreciated by us. It's dedicated employees such as yourself that help make Westville a great place to live. That's signed by Regina and I as personnel committee, so these originals will go to the employees and copies will be put in their personnel records. And thanks to Tom too, he was, I know up there like Nanook of the North. Up there, but, it's fun.
It was cold too.
I've been on it before where you stand, your feet stick to the ground, and that was probably the same way.
So, and we're gonna be going through and it was good that we have some materials over there at the water plant. Adam's gonna go through and see what other things, we need, just so we've got them next time. The good thing is, you know, we work in some other towns and we work with several contractors, and we can usually find some of the stuff, but it's always a lot quicker if you got it on hand too, so. I think. So anyway, we did order the voltage regulator for the generator, it's not come in yet. IDEM was on site, conducted their sanitary survey of the water system. Overall, everything was generally satisfactory. The functional efficiencies for the water system were noted. They want some of the old equipment removed and gotten rid of there, which doesn't surprise me. We need to do a chemical containment in the fluoride room, and I think what we're gonna do with that is just look about berming up the doorway a little bit and get one of these companies that will come out and put that epoxy coating on the floor and basically make it watertight, and I think that will suffice with IDEM. So we can do that, and I think we'll be in good shape. You start getting into buying some of this chemical containment stuff, and you start spending a lot of money, and you've got a 55-gallon drum of chemical that you're trying to get over a 18-inch wall, and it just doesn't make sense. So I think we can do that, and it should be really cost-effective to do that. We need to get rid of the SCBA tank. It's in there. They used to provide those in facilities that have gas chlorine. It's been my opinion for years that you shouldn't have one in there, because if you're not trained to use it, you shouldn't be using it. You call up 911 and the hazmat guys come out and they take care of it. I've been on 2 of these lakes in my career, and they're not a fun thing to do. That's why, you know, the emergency response guys are paid to do that. And Alexander Chemical will also come out, I think, and help with it too. So we're going to end up getting rid of that. IDEM recommended it, and I agree with it. We need to implement a cross-connection backflow preventer plan. And the beginning of that is we just need to look and see which facilities have got them, and we should make sure that they get tested every year. So it's going to be a PR thing we're going to need to do, and we're going to have to maintain a list, and then Lori's going to probably have to send out letters every year. And this is going to extend even into the South Coast area too. So because that's part of it. I don't think it'll be hugely burdensome, but it's something that we'll have to do. They wanted the emergency response plan updated. I've already done that. I'll submit that to them. They want to establish a maintenance plan for the water towers, and I'll get prices on that, and see, it probably needs to be inspected this year. We've got probably one or two other clients that need to have an inspection done. There's a company that will dive it, they'll go in with and just divers, and they'll send that in there. So you don't have to take the tank out of service. They'll go in and they'll just go around it, and I think they'll even vacuum some of the sediment out. And it's usually about the same price as draining it, but the good thing is you don't have it out of service. So, as far as the wastewater plant goes, the North Clarifier failed, we had the water main break, believe it or not. We had Superior Pumping came out, and it appears that there's a problem with the drive unit. It's a series of 3 gear reducing units, and the bottom one it's called a planetary gear reducer. Anyway, we took it apart, looked at it, and it appears that it may be out of plumb. So we're not going to know exactly how to fix it until spring, until we can get it drained and really look at it. We did have Wozniak Tool and Die make a thicker gasket, and we put the cover back on. We're running it now, and we think what was happening is one of the gears is actually getting stuck against the cover of the drive. So we're going to see how that works. And we'll just have to see how what we need to do to fix it. But, I've been in contact with McMahon. I've been in contact with the company that manufactures the clarifier also. So, and they're when I show them the pictures, they're in agreement that something looks out of sorts. So, but we'll know more as we get into it. Brainstorms on site to replace another hard drive. Hopefully we'll get together with them and just really come up with a long-term solution on what we need to do with the computer systems. Both the sludge dumpsters are in need of replacement. One's really bad. Tom has got quotes for that. But that's something that needs to be done. We're hoping it would hold out for a little bit longer, but it seems to deteriorate. They seem to be deteriorating quickly as the older they get. So they are. I think they're over 10 years old, and they've had a lot of stuff put in them.
That's what I sent out. I know I apologize for the short notice. We've been working on this the last couple of days to get quotes in on this because we noticed there's concern, with the dumpster like that while it's on the roadway. We don't want it to get let loose. So it is important we get this, at least one of them replaced right now. In front of you, I have 2 quotes. One's from Pyramid Equipment. The other one's from Blue Rivers Technologies. We just got both these quotes yesterday, so I'd like to make a motion to not to exceed $10,000 out of the wastewater maintenance fund, and allow Nathan and Adam to scope the 2 contractors and see what fits best from a lead time perspective, and then also from longevity. There's different gauge. I think one's a different gauge, but then one comes ready to go, and it's a short lead time. So let them make that decision. They both come in at around. Right now, they're about around $8,200, and there's about $450 of shipping to get them here. So we will have the old dumpster. If we go with Pyramid Equipment, we could probably trade it in. If we go with Blue River Technologies, we'll probably have to auction off our dumpster to get rid of it or scrap it. One or the other. It still can probably be used for scrap metal. It's not so far gone that we can't do it. Someone will purchase it. So.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second it. We have a motion made by Mr. Paff, seconded by Albert to a not to exceed of $10,000 for a dumpster for the wastewater treatment plant to be paid out of wastewater operating
Maintenance.
Wastewater maintenance. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Revelle?
Yes.
Mrs. Dvorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bashinsky? Yes. Mr. Kraft? Yes. Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Anything else on
Just another thing, Nathan, sorry to tie up everyone's time, but Nathan brought up the information we have and going through all these documents, going through as-built, CAD files, field markups, Simpson reports. The GIS, I think, is pretty critical. I talked to John Sturgill with McMahon. He thought it'd be around $5K to get the framework set up to do GIS. I'm gonna meet with McMahon and probably Randy Decker. Lori might even be interested in looking at the system and what Hebron's doing over there, but I'm probably next meeting, I'm probably, after we research it a little bit, we'll probably want to look towards that. It would have been very useful when if we would have GIS locating all these valves that were buried, and being able to have that at our fingertips. And it's, now that we've gone through, we're getting all these documents, we're scanning them in, we're seeing, I know Dan Woodruff had done a lot of scans too, so going through everything he gave us. But as soon as we get all these compiled, it's gonna go on a safe, we're gonna have it on probably the server here and at the plant, so we don't lose them. Like, we've lost hard drives out at the wastewater plant like crazy. So we gotta look at a safe place as we gather all this information, so we're not going back through it again.
And then there's, this computer, that computer, how many computers did you look at? At the water
We were
plant?
going through computers from I was looking at the little, it wasn't a paperclip, but it was like a dog that tells you, try to help you through Microsoft Word and stuff. But there's been a lot of help. I know the guys at Dugout, we've gone through a lot of drawings, finding the contractors' as-built, which are very important. And then also, I think we've located all the projects we've done over the last 30 years. There's probably about 7 to 10 different as-built we have, so we're gonna make sure the CAD, as we're updating the CAD file, that those are there, and then that's a good starting block for GIS to get kickstarted.
Did you find the Eighth Street?
Actually,
You did find those?
I was looking for one of Dan Woodruff's scans. I actually saw a hand sketch of some of the areas where we might have been getting some backfeeding when we're closing valves, so we're gonna have to confirm it, based on it. All this is gonna have to be field confirmed, and that's what GIS is gonna be really useful for, to make sure that, everything's actually there.
There should be a set of plans for that, 'cause that wasn't done that long ago. Maybe we'll find more in here.
Yeah, we found a couple, that one.
Yeah, with a pencil.
We went through a lot of old drawings.
It's a lot of fun, like going back through history.
Yeah.
Anything else on utilities? I'm gonna change this a little bit. I'm gonna go down to miscellaneous, because I know you guys are coming from Michigan City and it's supposed to be getting bad out.
Yes.
And we'll
Thank you.
see you guys.
Appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Just here on behalf of Tricapa, asking if we can use the park for our flower sale on May 9th, and for the Pumpkin Fest the weekend of October 4th through 6th.
I'll make a motion that we allow Tricapa to use Prairie Meadow Park for the flower sales on May 9th, and then the Pumpkin Fest October 4th through 6th.
I second that.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mrs. Podorsky. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mrs. Podorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski? Yes. Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. All right,
Yep.
we're going. Sorry.
I was thinking,
Hot.
you guys live in Michigan City, so making you say.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
See you later.
Bye.
As long as we're in the miscellaneous, there could be a conflict with the clerk's office for the March 12th meeting. Is there any objection if we move the March 12th meeting to the following Tuesday, the 19th? You good on that? Are you good on that?
It's not set in stone yet, but it most likely comes in February, but we just do it then?
Let's just do it. That way,
Okay.
can you make it all right on that date?
March 19th.
Yeah, okay. I'll make a motion, we move the March meeting from the 12th to the 19th. Okay. Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. B. Kaczynski to move the March 12th meeting to the 19th. Any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mrs. Podorsky?
Yes, it is at 7 p.m. though.
Yes, yes, time's the same. Mr. Kaczynski? Yes. Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, now we'll go back up to streets then. Well, Bub's not here, because I saw him.
Yeah.
He's here in our hearts, he's gone by a couple.
Yeah, he's been hitting pretty hard. We have a community crossing grant bids ready to go publish in the paper. Randy's looked through them, and the dates we would like to have it in the paper are the 15th and the 22nd of this month.
Well, they were kind of subject to whatever we
Yeah,
decided when the
whatever.
meeting was gonna be.
Yeah. And also, we'd like to, depending on what Randy, you said you had to be here for,
I'd like-
to open them.
Yeah, and I proposed, I mean, the question was whether you wanted, now you can't, though, really. Whether you wanted to do it at the regular meeting or have a special meeting, we had to make sure there's 3 people here to open them.
Well, last year we had Mike, myself, the engineer, and Laurie, that was it.
So I said, I needed that quorum, so I had to go to that public meeting.
Ethan didn't say that, so.
He was not here.
Yeah. Well,
What-
was looking at the 8th of March.
Like 10 o'clock in the morning.
March 8th.
No, I can't, I have a meeting that morning.
Or, well, it could be in the afternoon, too.
Well, how about in the afternoon?
I can do everything that's gonna be
What time? Did you?
2:15
2:15, okay.
or 2:30?
Let's do it at 2:30.
2:30 on the 8th,
March 8th at 2:30.
to open the bids.
No, to open them.
to open them.
And then actually, the way that works out then is then you could award it on the 19th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Since you moved that meeting, that gives
Yeah,
us
that'd be
time to
fine.
review them.
right, you can, we can review them, and the engineer can review them. Okay. That'll work fine.
So publishing on the 15th and the 22nd is fine.
Yeah.
15th to 22nd.
Or even the 22nd and 29th is fine.
And
And then
at 2:30 on the 8th.
Would we get them in time?
the 22nd,
By the
the
15th.
15th work.
That's just Friday.
Well,
It's kind of hard to get into.
I can get into the Westville paper on the 15th, or I can, as long as I get, does Eric have it's ready?
We got
He's
the date.
just gotta put the dates in, and then,
I got it to Justin in the morning, so it doesn't matter, I mean,
Like I said, you could do the 22nd and the 1st. And that's still, you're
yeah, and
still
that'll
fine.
be fine,
You're fine on the 22nd
so
and
the
the 1st.
22nd and the 1st publish it.
right.
Now, since Westville only has one paper, I only have to publish in that, right?
Last year, you guys published in there.
We published in the Herald
And
Argus.
it's one of both of them then?
Yes.
The Herald Argus and the Dispatch?
We really,
Well, it's owned by the same, so
I don't know, some say I have to publish in both, and
I would put it in both,
been hurt.
Nation City and.
Okay.
And then in the Herald Argus.
Actually, what was the legal, I thought we had to do by law.
Where do we publish last year?
One of them was the Herald Argus, because I think I got a copy of it.
Just publish wherever you published last year.
Okay. Let's go with Herald Argus.
On the 22nd and March 1st.
Right. And maybe it's March 8th at 2:30. What was that?
March 8th at 2:30.
Then we'll
And
award
we'll-
on the 19th.
We'll open them, and then we'll, award the bid on the 19th.
Okay.
Because it has to be, the contract has to be done by the 15th of April, right?
Yes, everything has to be for the state contract. And Eric's got a email into Marcy Blanchett about, because we had a little conflict there, and they tried to make a conflict, but it wasn't, so that might have delayed it, but they gotta review all this. I have actually a copy of the bid packet of what they will get, and there's a ton of stuff for Randy knows. Of course, they go through down at Lafayette, and then they send it back to the fourth district, so. We should be hearing from them soon.
Well, my looking, so then it's better that we not publish this
Yeah.
week.
It'll be better, it'll be better to publish 22nd and the 1st.
Well, just tell Eric if there's any problem then with publishing that, to let us know.
Yeah, I will, he's in Indianapolis, but I'll get ahold of him tomorrow. He said for him it would, whatever we decide. He'll get the dates in and get it to Lauren. And that's all I have.
Okay, anything else? That's true.
I would just like to say thank you to all you guys that were out there fighting the elements. I know I was working that night that too, and it's very cold, and what you're doing was kudos to you guys.
Anything on parks? I saw somebody out playing basketball, shooting baskets. So that's a sign of spring. That's a sign we're in Indiana.
Yeah.
It's still too cold to take a walk. During the spring, I take a walk and then I clean up. Like, I'll go on the back trail and go on this, you find some really interesting stuff back there, that's for sure. But it's too cold to go out there walking.
Hopefully it'll warm up for too much longer. Police.
For January, we had 534 calls for service, 13 crash reports, 75 traffic stops, 24 ordinance violations, 27 assist other agencies, and then 141 business checks. And I was going to give you a briefing. I thought I should update you. The town paid for me to attend the Northwestern Staff and Command School, and right now I'm in week 17. It finishes up March 24th. Things are going well. So everything's on track with that. It's definitely an interesting program, and I grossly underestimated the amount of time it would take to complete, that's for sure. There's a lot of work. The next thing that came up was I got the final approval for the FBI National Academy. It's 10 weeks at Quantico. It starts April 1st, and graduation is June 7th. So I would leave the Sunday and start school April 1st, and then I would be back to work on June 10th. I've got things in the works with Ian as far as scheduling and that type of thing. The only thing that where we may come into a little bit of a wrench in the gear is being gone for 10 weeks will be tough on the guys here if they have any family time or something that they want to take off. Things that I didn't plan for when we did the budget for part-time. So at some point later in the year, depending on how things go while I'm gone, I may have to ask for a small transfer from, I think, healthcare. I have extra money to healthcare to go into the part-time salary. We may run into a situation where we're paying a little bit of part-time money that we weren't expecting to. But other than that, I think we've got all our bases covered, and I'll be able to communicate with Ian in the evenings and go over things that are taking part, that are happening back here. So that's what's going on. I'll be gone Thursday. I leave Wednesday night, and Thursday is orientation for the academy, where they'll explain the courses, the schedule, what's expected of us, and then registration for the classes is the 19th, and then I leave April 1st. So that's that. And then I gave everybody 2 documents, and what I did is I was with everybody else as we were doing our comprehensive plan, and I attended the meetings and listened to what everybody was saying. And one thing that was consistent throughout the entire process of putting the comprehensive plan together was everybody wanted to see Westville grow, but they wanted to maintain a small town feel. But growth was a continual thing that popped up during our comprehensive plan. And we included the police department in the comprehensive plan, and I thought it was important that we spent all the money and the time and put the effort in to develop that plan, that I thought it was time, after evaluating how the police department works, that I make a proposition to the town that is a long-term plan. It's not anything that's going to happen now. It can't happen now because we don't have the tax revenue. But with the way that the town operates, with the way that we're set up, with small pieces of unincorporated Westville between us and county line. Even with 421, the way it's set up with the east side, that's not part of town limits. And then we have the University Park Apartments in Nashville, and the way that the surrounding communities are growing, I think it's important that we set the groundwork for future town boards and future town marshals, so that when the time comes and we do have the tax base, that we're not scrambling to set up a police department to catch up for the activity that is taking place in the town. So what I did, you can't really do a comparison of police departments in the community because it doesn't work. You can't compare us with Kingsford Heights or Trail Creek or Long Beach, because even though they're all small communities, they're not even remotely similar. You compare us to Long Beach, and you can't. I mean, they have 6 officers per 1,000 residents. There's no way we'd ever do that. And then you go to Kingsford Heights. Kingsford Heights has just over about 1,400 people, and they have 3 full-time officers, and Trail Creek has 4, the same as us, but we're over 1,000 more residents than they are. So what I did is I went with the FBI's recommendation, and it is just a recommendation. There's no law or mandate, but for small towns in the Midwest, with a population of less than 10,000 residents, the FBI recommends that police departments operate on 2.8 officers per 1,000 residents. And even determining the population of Westville is a little tricky because they always include the prison. So I went with a number, because the population of the prison fluctuates, so I went with a number of about 3,000 to 3,500 residents for Westville, which puts us somewhere between the 8 and 9 man department. So for a strategic plan, what I did is I asked for the town board to consider in the future a 9-man department, which would consist of a town marshal or a chief, depending on if the town were to ever decide to eliminate the position of town marshal and go with the traditional police department. That would be up to them. So you would have a town marshal, the chief deputy, a full-time detective, and then you would have a patrol sergeant, and then 5 patrolmen. And to work the operation as the 5 patrolmen, you do that on a 12-hour shift, which is called a pitman schedule, where you would get, it's basically 2 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 2 days off. It's a popular schedule. And then you have a relief officer that would fill in for vacations. I also asked for 2 full-time clerks and a part-time clerk, and their job duties would consist of answering the phone, doing gun permits, taking payments, dealing with the records situation, filing records, disposing of records, and probably some small dispatching if at some point we decided to get a base radio at the police department. And the idea of setting a police department up like this is it eliminates what we're doing right now, which is everybody's doing 15 different things. Lately, I've been stuck at the department with the school that we're attending with the staff and command class, but if I wasn't in that class right now, I would be doing patrol in the morning, and then I'd be taking investigations, and I would be doing administrative work, and then Ian would be doing the same thing, and then we have Nate, who is sort of he's taken to the investigation part of it, so we're kind of throwing investigations his way, but we still need him on the afternoon shift because that's the busiest shift. So I have my best, most qualified detective, the person who enjoys it the most and is really taking to it, but then he's on the busiest shift we have. But I can't really switch him because I have my number 2 guy, who's Ian, is chief deputy, so I need access to him. And so you have a small department, and we're all doing 15 different things at once, and we're doing it, and we're making it work. But at some point, it will get to the point that it's going to be too much. You guys have probably all checked your emails. You've probably all gotten an email from me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's the same way with Ian. It's the same way with Nate, where all of us are always on call. And that's not a complaint, it's just a fact. All of us are always on call. And the only way to get away from that is establishing a traditional police department that operates with a shift supervisor that your patrolman can have access to, So when the 10 different things happen during a shift that they have a question to, they have a supervisor that they have access to. And we have a detective who can come in and work in plain clothes and deal with kids and deal with suspects and victims and not have to worry about being in uniform and having somebody say that they were intimidating during an interrogation or the other 10 other things that can happen with a detective. So there's a lot of thought and there's a lot of effort and a lot of investigation that went on. I talked to some different chiefs that I'm in the staff and command class with, and there's actually a couple of chiefs that are towns in Indiana, and they all seem to think that this was a good plan. And this plan only works with annexation. It only works with increased tax revenue. It's not something that we can do now. It's not something that's going to happen in 5 years. Probably won't happen in 10 years. But the idea is that we put the effort into the comprehensive plan, and we're making small steps to accomplish everything that we did in the comprehensive plan. And I think this strategic plan for the police department puts the police department in a situation where we're thinking in the same pattern that the town board is and the community is. That we're ready to grow. All you have to do is give us the word. We've got the plan in place. We just need you to tell us it's time. And that's the whole purpose of this. I'm not asking for any money anytime soon. It's nothing like that. It's kind of like the fourth officer we had. We had a fourth officer on, allowed by ordinance for dozens of years. We never filled it, but when we had the money, we were able to do it in just a couple months. So that's my thought process, and I'm open for questions or anything like that. I know it's a lot. It seems monumental, but I do think it's important. I think it's realistic. I think with the annexation that we're looking at, you could go from 3,000 to 6,000 residents pretty quick. So if you guys want to yell at me, you can.
Seems like we are booming. I mean, there's buildings going on and there's room for more. We know that. I would like to ask you, would it be okay while you go to Quantico? You got enough coverage or?
Yeah, I think we'll make it, we were really fortunate. We took on Corey McKinney from the prison, and we took on Mike Kellums. And between Mike Kellums, he's a 30-year officer, and he's very flexible. He's retired, so he's, just call him. So between Corey and Mike, they've taken up a lot of the part-time work, and they're both so flexible with their hours. I think it'll work out really well. Corey's just been phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about that guy. So I think it'll work out well. Ian's a little nervous, but I'll get him through it.
Tom and I are going to do the part.
Yeah, we gotta get the money.
I did tell you that, didn't I?
I mean, really, any questions that you guys have? I know it's a huge thing to consider that you're going to more than double the size of your police department. But I think it's something that's important for 10 or 15 years down the road.
I mean, we did the same thing when we were looking at on wastewater plant, what we're gonna have to do could be. So, I mean, this fits in with everything that we've tried to do in the plan commission, everything.
Yeah, and I thank you for doing it, because this was exactly what the comprehensive plan said we need to do, and you took it upon yourself to go ahead and do it. I think every department needs to have a strategic plan, probably, if we look at it seriously and see where we're going in the future, because you're right, things are going to change. There's no way we're going to stay like this forever, so.
Simply double our streets.
Then you can ask for a bigger grant.
Yeah. Double our water mains.
So thank you.
Get more grant money.
There you go.
Anything else on police, sir?
No.
Thank you. Okay, finance, we have cancellation of old warrants. There are times when, for example, like on water and sewer deposits, where that money is refunded, checks are sent out, where people never cash the check. And that's what's happened. We have occurrences where we've had checks from two different parties, I think it was, that weren't cash, in the amount of $125.15. So I would like to make a motion that we, cancel the old checks and redeposit the money into the water and sewage operating funds. And it'll come back the same place that it went from. So I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Pfaff to cancel the old warrants in the amount of $125.15. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Goodell?
Yes.
Mrs. Pahorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Shinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Pfaff? Yes. Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Then we have a special distribution fund transfer. It's from 2014 where we got money from, through the county.
14.
14.
14 was when the county had the excess.
Okay,
We didn't get it till.
okay. And we spent the money, it was for paving, but there's still 40 cents left in it. So I would like,
You did a good job.
I'd like to make a motion that we,
Here, I'll give it to you.
the dormant account, well, then we'd have 80 cents. That we,
People for me, Chris.
Give it here, I'll take it.
since this is a dormant fund, that we transfer the 40 cents to the general fund.
We have to declare it dormant.
We have to, yes, it's dormant and the
Declaring it
money.
dormant and transfer it to the general fund.
Right. I'll make that motion. I'll second that. Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Shinsky to declare that fund dormant and transfer the 40 cents balance to the general fund. Any discussion? Mrs. Liddell?
Yes.
Mrs. Zdarsky?
Yes.
Mr. Shinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Pfaff? Yes. Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. It just cost us more than 40 cents to do that.
Amen.
MediaCom contract?
I'm gonna do this real quick. MediaCom goes all the way back to 1985, when the original O-Cable franchise was granted. And part of that was to allow them to use a 30 by 30 foot building over by the town garage for them to store their equipment. And that stuff has been in there since 1985. The original lease for that 30 by 30 feet was a 15-year lease that expired in 2000 for $200 a year. That lease was signed in '93 from Oak to Mid-America Cable. Then it was amended in June of 2000 to extend it to expire June of 2003. And at that point, they increased the rent to $400 a year. This is big money we're talking about here. That was kind of lost somewhere as time went on. They continued to occupy it, but the last time they made a payment with regard to it was either 2007 or 2008, and I think they realized it and then came to Lori with a proposed new lease agreement for a 5-year term beginning, in essence, January of this year, with an option to renew it for an additional 5-year term on 60 days' notice for $1,600 a year, and also pay $4,400 for the period of time from June of '07 through December 31st of '18. I'm not sure whether or not between 2000 and 2007 they paid $400 or $200. I mean, it's probably very difficult to even figure that out at this point. So the question, and I just didn't want to come to you and say, here's a contract, sign this, it's okay. So I don't know whether or not you want them to continue to occupy the 30 by 30 foot building that is sitting there that has their equipment in it. If you don't have a problem with that, then in general terms, I guess the contract's okay. I mean, I'm not wild about doing 5 years and automatically giving them another 5-year extension without a change in the amount that they're paying. But again, you know, it's going from $400 to $1,600. The question is whether or not you have a problem with that. So I wasn't going to be presumptuous and say, just go ahead and sign a lease agreement without giving you the history behind what's going on in terms of this. So it's kind of your pleasure. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to go back to them and say, if you want an option for an additional 5-year term, you know, there should be an increase in the rental amount after 5 years. I mean, they have an out for themselves on the contract. That, you know, they don't give you an out on the contract. But again, we're talking about $1,600 a year. This is not something that's an earth-shattering amount, but I wanted to give you a bit of the history behind this and ask you what you would like me to do.
I would say in 5 years, we renegotiate the price.
So take
I
a,
agree.
you know, and maybe then it doesn't get lost somewhere in the translation, or you're not doing it in such a long period of time, and it kind of gets set aside, and you know, remember that it's there.
Right, because if it's just an automatic renewal, it can get lost.
Well, I mean, they can renew it, but, you know.
It's obviously good.
Yeah, which it did, yeah.
All right, so at this point, I mean, Lori will give me the contact information from them. I will go back to them on a couple of issues, but at this point, you don't have a problem with them continuing to utilize their, obviously, they've been there since 1985. Not like you'd have some wild need for that 30 by 30 foot garage. Okay, so that's number one. Can I, you just go to the next one?
Yeah.
Since I'm the next one. In 2016, you bid the trash contract for the town. At that point, you gave options for 1, 2, and 3-year bids. The bids came in and you awarded a 3-year contract to Waste Management. That contract expires at the end of March, or at the end of April. So a new contract needs to be in place for May 1st. So I would like your approval to go do notices for bids, again, asking for 1, 2, and 3-year options with the dumpster service to the various other areas. The question is, when do you want those to come in? Do you want them at the April meeting, or do you want to throw them in with the March 19th meeting that you moved a week later? It's up to you. We just need to know which meeting you want them to come in at.
Well, when the current contract ends April,
Last day of April.
March would be better
Yeah, March.
for the transition, probably, if there is, you know.
yes, if you can, if you can.
Yeah,
Certain,
Yeah. When you did it 3 years ago, you did it in April. I mean, I guess I kind of prefer March because it gives it a little bit extra time.
Right, but if we get a new provider, we're gonna have those do the can switch, so I'll just switch out the cans and do all that.
All right, so those, we would have those come in, the meeting on March 19th, so then I'll get you the legal notices that will have to be published the 5th and the 12th. And I'll get that to you. And that's my brief report.
Okay. Anything else? I make a motion that we adjourn. Second. Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Machewski to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, being adjourned at 7:52.